So taking your time to arrive, making those little adjustments to your posture in this mountain pose. And if you're feeling stable and connected to the ground, it might be a good idea to close your eyes for a moment, or just squint them, just so that you're not too distracted by what you are seeing. And you can really focus on the other senses and feel your feet on the ground and press evenly through the pinky toe side and the big toe side. And then bring your awareness to the arch of your foot and imagine trying to lift that arch. Engage a bit more through the inner part of your legs. And then as you come up through those legs, engage through your glutes. Imagine trying to lift your kneecaps up. And then coming up through the hips, and notice the position of your hips. Notice if you tend to be a bit more flexed forward or a bit more arched back. And try to find that middle point, that place of balance. There's some engagement through the lower belly, so you pulling that belly button up and in. You're lengthening through that tailbone. But all these adjustments, you're not overdoing them. And then coming up through the torso, your shoulders are more or less over your hips, and you might make some adjustments there, drawing the shoulder blades a little closer to one another, opening a bit more through your chest. And then turning your palms to face forward, arms are by your side. Coming up through the neck, and then reaching tall through the top of the head, that point that's just above your ears. And so the chin stays more or less neutral, more or less parallel to the ground, or a little tucked in. And then just take a quick scan of the face. Imagine if you could expand the forehead, the space between your eyebrows. The cheekbones moving in opposite directions. And the same with the corners of the mouth. Allowing the tongue to drop away from the top of the mouth. And then taking about 5 cycles of breath. Just notice the movement that occurs as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And then emphasize that movement, make it a bit more obvious. And breathe a bit more through the nose if you can. Taking another breath in and a breath out. And then with your next inhale, reach your arms wide and overhead, any amount. And then as you exhale, lower the right arm down, side stretch. Press down through that left foot. Inhale, bring yourself back through center. And take it over to the other side and press down through your right foot. And then bring it back through center. Do it one more time each side. Right arm down. And back up. Trying not to round through that spine, so it's just about that side body. And other side. And then coming back through center and bringing your hands behind you, interlace them at your lower back. We're going to do a little movement here, so try to keep that core engaged and try not to lean forward or lean back too much. Bend your elbows and draw the knuckles or the hands up towards that lower back. And then see if you can draw your elbows a bit closer together. You'll feel the fronts of the shoulders open up, the shoulder blades squeeze. Keep reaching up through the crown of the head. See if you can lift your elbows a little bit more so your hands might slide up a little further, and keep drawing those elbows towards each other. Take a full breath in. Try not to lift your shoulders. Full breath out, draw the belly to spine. One more inhale right here, squeezing those elbows towards each other. Exhale. And then as you inhale, release, reach your arms tall once again. And then on your exhale, find a nice bend in those knees and fold forward. Bring your hands to your shins, halfway lift, breath in. And fold, breath out. Keep that bend in your knees. Again, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale, half lift. And exhale, folding forward. And your forward fold, pause, hold on to opposite elbows, and now deep bend in your right knee as you straighten a bit more your left, and it doesn't have to straighten completely. And then bend into your left knee, straighten into your right. And again, switch, right knee bend, straightening into that left. And switch, right knee straightens. And then as you inhale, bend into both knees, release your elbows and rise up into a chair pose, reaching your arms by your ears. And then as you exhale, fold forward again. And you can do all this, keeping those knees bent, or maybe straightening them some as you fold. And then again, bend, coming up into chair, arms can lift. Exhale and fold. Get your chest as close to your thighs as you can. Your arms maybe might lift towards the ceiling. And then again, inhale, come back into chair pose, arms lift. Exhale, fold, maybe those arms swing up. One more time, inhale into your chair. And exhale, finding that forward fold. Now as you inhale, come back into chair pose, pause there, bringing hands to your heart. Press the palms against one another and spread your elbows. Try to get your elbows in line with your wrists, and then draw your shoulders down. Keep sitting down, maybe a little lower, breathing in and breathing out. And then push the floor away, straightening legs, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, left arm down, side stretch. Now pause in your side stretch for a moment. As you press down through your right foot, see if you can squeeze your left side. So you're contracting that left side of the body. Maybe that left hand walks down a little further. Try not to round forward or arch back. And then as you inhale, come back through center. And take it over to the other side, and same idea here. So we're focusing now on the contraction through the right side of the torso, and of course that will give us that stretch through the left side. Breathe in and breathe out. And then as you inhale, returning through center. On your exhale, bring those hands again behind you. Find the opposite interlace of those fingers. And same thing that we did before. So those hands are going to climb up towards the lower back, and then really squeeze those elbows towards one another. Find that space in your chest. Lengthen through the top of the head. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Maybe you can climb those hands a little higher up, but try not to lift your shoulders. Squeeze elbows, breath in. Breath out, squeeze through that those glutes and draw the belly to the spine. One more inhale and exhale. And then release, reach your arms all the way up, breath in. And bend those knees forward, fold as you breathe out. Inhale into a halfway lift and exhale, forward fold. Let's do that again. Halfway lift, inhale, fold, exhale. And inhale, half lift and fold forward, exhale. Draw the chin towards your chest. With your next inhale, bend into those knees, coming up into your chair pose again, just like we did before. On your exhale, fold forward, get your chest as close to your thighs, and then as you drop the head, you can reach your arms up. Again, inhale, back into your chair, arms lift. Exhale, fold, arms might lift towards the ceiling, and then again, one more time. chair pose, and forward fold. Exhale, nice job. And now as you inhale, come back into your chair, arms lift, and then bring those hands back to your heart. Exhale. Pause for a moment. Again, press those palms against one another. Spread your elbows. Drop those shoulders. Breathing in and breathing out. Push the floor away. Straighten arms and straighten legs. Exhale, right arm down, side stretch. Come back through center. Inhale and taking it to the other side as you exhale. Back through center. Inhale. Forward fold. Exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale. And planting those hands, step your feet back. Downward facing dog. 5 cycles of breath here. Movement, stillness, whatever you feel like. Think about pushing through those hands or pushing the mat away, and think about dropping your heels. And again, bending those knees, good idea. Try to lift those sit bones. And then try to relax through your neck. Breath in. Breath out. One more, just like that. Inhale. And then on your exhale, let's all lower those knees. We're coming into a table pose. Hands are going to come under those shoulders. Keep your toes tucked, so give the soles of the feet a stretch. And we'll go into some cows and cats. As you breathe in, drop the belly, bring the chest forward, lift your gaze, think about those sit bones spreading. And then round your spine, tuck that chin, belly to spine. Again, inhale, cow pose. Exhale and round. And inhale, cow. And last one, exhale to round. And then finding a neutral spine. And from here, we're going to float those knees off the mat. So keep your table pose position. And then with your exhale, see if you can lift your knees just like a couple centimeters off the mat. Broaden through that upper back. Keep pushing into the balls of the feet. Another breath in. Another breath out. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, lower gently those knees to the mat. Untuck your toes. And then push through the tops of the feet. Maybe even tap a bit. So give the tops of the feet a little release here. Those toes a little release too. And then pause with that. We're going to stretch through the left shoulder. Left arm is going to reach out to the side and up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, swim that arm all the way forward and come onto the right forearm. Keep reaching through those left fingers and send your left sit bone back. Drop the head. Take a full breath in. And take a full breath out. And then with your next inhale, walk that left hand back, come back into your table pose, and then right side, right arm reaches out and up towards the ceiling. And then swim that right arm all the way forward, plant your fingers, and see if you can come onto the left forearm. Walk your right fingers even further, and then send your right sit bone back. Drop the head, neck relaxed, breath in, and breath. And then walk that right hand back towards you, coming back into your table pose. Plant those hands and then tuck your toes once again. With your next exhale, float those knees. Again, just a bit, so they're just hovering over the mat, and then make a point of spreading your shoulder blades. Draw the belly towards the spine. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And another breath in. And then from here, on the exhale, make your way back into downward facing dog. So just lift those hips up and back, and then lower those heels towards the mat. If you need to make your down dog just a little longer, walk your hands forward, walk your feet back. Another breath in, and another breath out. With your next inhale, come out into a plank pose. Bring those shoulders over those wrists. And then as you exhale, return into downward facing dog. Do that again. Inhale, slowing things down as much as you can, coming all the way out into your plank. Exhale, moving all the way back into downward facing dog. Using your legs here. Inhale, come out into your plank, onto your tiptoes. Exhale, and back into downward facing dog. Nice job. With your next inhale, walk your feet towards your hands towards your feet, top of the mat in a forward fold. Hold on to opposite elbows. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, deep bend into your right knee, straighten through the left hamstring stretch. And then switch, straighten right knee, bend left knee. And then again, switch, right knee bends. And switch, and left knee bends. And then as you inhale, bend into both knees, release those elbows, rise into your chair pose, arms will lift. And then as you exhale, hands to your heart. Maybe sit down a little lower, take another breath. And then push the floor away, rising all the way up to stand. Exhale, left arm down, side stretch. Back through center, breathing in. And to your other side, and breathing out. Inhale through center. Now as you exhale, left foot is going to step back. We're coming into warrior one. So planting that back foot, remember with your warrior one, your hips are pointing forward. So if you're on your mat, to the short edge of your mat in the same direction as your front knee and torso. So train tracks maybe with your feet, train tracks as wide as your hips. With your next inhale, your arms are going to lift. And then as you exhale, bring those arms behind you. We're going to interlace again those hands, just like we did at the beginning with that shoulder work. We're going to keep those knuckles at the lower back and then squeeze the elbows towards one another. Once again, notice the space appearing in your chest, fronts of the shoulders. Notice that squeeze through your shoulder blades. Draw the belly towards the spine and firm the glutes. And then we're going to try and lift those elbows without lifting the shoulders. So little lift. It's not going to be a lot, but it's quite a bit of effort. And you might notice it in my voice as I do this. I do little pulses up. My elbows lift. I'm not lifting my shoulders by my ears. So I'm just trying to lift my elbows. And my hands lift slightly off my lower back. And see if you can feel that in the fronts of your shoulders, the chest. And do a couple more. And then release. Release those hands, reach your arms all the way tall. And then on your exhale, right arm is going to come down by your side. And then bring it behind you. So turn your right palm back and then slide that arm behind you. See if that right hand can go towards the left side of your lower back or even your waist. And then drop your left hand and maybe that left hand meets the right. If the palms touch, you could interlace those fingers. So you might see those knuckles here. If not, what you could do is you could just drop your left arm by your side and you might grab a hold of that arm or just reach towards it with your right hand. Okay? So this is kind of what it might look from the back. And then pause here, take a full breath in. And then on the exhale, we're going to drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. See if you can feel that stretch through the right side of the neck. Breath in. And breath out. One more inhale. Stay in your warrior one legs. Exhale. And then gently bring that head back through center. Release those arms, reach them tall. And then with your next exhale, we're making our way forward. Top of the mat, taking that step. Left foot steps forward and plants next to your right. You could bring hands to your heart and to your mountain pose. Take a wiggle through those toes. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. With your next inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, bend into those knees, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. And exhale, plant your hands and step your feet back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. And take a long breath out. Again, another opportunity to relax through the neck. One more breath. And then with your next inhale, rolling out into your plank pose, shoulders over those wrists. Exhale, moving back into downward facing dog. 2 more times. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale and back. And one more. Slow it down even more. From your downward facing dog, take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, lower your knees, coming back into your table pose. Hands come under those shoulders. And then with your next breath in, your left arm comes out to the side and up towards the ceiling. This time we're going to thread that arm under the right. Look towards your right side and do this 2 more times. Inhale, opening up, create space through the chest. Exhale and thread. Create some space in the back of that left shoulder. One more. Open up. Inhale. And thread. Exhale. Now as you inhale, open. And return your hand under your shoulder back into table. Switching sides. Open up through that right arm. Breath in. Thread and breath out. 2 more at your own pace. And then next time, arm will lift. And then return that right hand to the mat and back into your table pose. Just for a moment here, tuck your toes. With your next exhale, hover those knees over the mat. Option to stay put or to walk those feet towards the right. So you're keeping your hands where they are and you're probably coming off your mat. Keep your knees hovering, then bring those feet back through center and then take them over to the left. And then back through center. Take a full breath in. And then we'll all move into downward facing dog. Lift those hips up and back. And heels towards the ground. And take an open breath, open mouth, exhale. One more breath. And then use your next inhale to make your way forward. Top of the mat. Forward fold, holding onto opposite elbows. And just to stay with that pattern, let's bend into that right knee. Feel that left hamstring, maybe it's getting a little looser. And then straighten right knee, bend into the left, right hamstring stretch. 1 more time each side. Right knee bends. Breathing in. And left knee bends, breathing out. And then with your next inhale, both knees bend, release elbows, rise up. It's your chair pose. Exhale, hands to your heart. See if you can draw the belly towards the spine. Relax your shoulders. Breath in. And breath out. Push the floor away, straighten legs, straighten arms. Inhale, side stretch, right arm down. Exhale. Breath in, coming up. And breath out, other side. Inhale, center, and we're going into warrior 1 now through the, on the other side. So right leg this time is going to go back. Take your time to get there. Take your time to set your base. We're going to spend a little time with the legs in this position, so make sure that it's a stable and strong one. Draw the belly towards the spine and get that spine lifted. Bend into that front knee, and then don't grip with your toes, so allow them to be spread out, somewhat relaxed, but pressing down. And then with your next inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, hands come behind you and switch the interlace. So chances are you want the awkward one, the one that you wouldn't go for kind of by default. And then once you've got your interlace, your hands stay at the lower back, so they're kind of resting there, and then draw those elbows towards one another. Squeezing them in, working here for a few breaths, noticing that space in your chest once again, but then notice that work through that upper back and those shoulders. Squeeze those elbows, another breath in, and another breath out. And then from here, we're going to do the same thing we did before. So lifting those elbows, meaning the hands are going to leave that lower back some, but you don't want to be doing this from the shrugging of your shoulders. So as best you can, try to just lift elbows and lower and lift. You're keeping your elbows in that same bend. And a little pulsation here. Make sure that you're breathing. And it's quite a bit of work, so I get out of breath here pretty easy. And let's do a couple more. Squeezing those shoulder blades. And then release. Nice job. Reach your arms up. A little looseness here through those shoulders. And then with your next exhale, your left arm is going to come out into a T. Turn your palm. So your palm is facing back, thumb pointing down. And then slide that arm behind you. Elbow bends. And then from here, your right arm comes down by your side. And you can let it drop here. And maybe your left hand grabs a hold of it. Or you can bend your right elbow and bring the palms to touch and maybe interlace those fingers, and you're resting them at the right side of your lower back or your waist. And then take a full breath in, and we'll get that left side neck stretch. So right ear towards the right shoulder. So keep dropping that left shoulder down. And then try not to arch here. So belly doesn't go out and forward. Try to keep it drawing in and push that lower back into your arms. Breath in and breath out. One more inhale. And then with your next inhale, release those arms. You can reach them up and then bring that weight forward. We're coming all the way to the top of the mat. Maybe it's one step, maybe it's a few more. And hands can rest at your heart. Nice job. Give your shoulders a little roll, let your arms dangle. And then with your next inhale, arms will lift. And forward fold as you exhale. Halfway lift, inhale, and forward fold, exhale. So grab your block and plant your block right in front of your feet. Say, come into a halfway lift, and then your block might be kind of under your nose, and plant your right hand on that block. And some of you will use the block, some of you might not need the block, or some of you might lower the block. You might have it in a lower setting. So find the one that works for you. Your right arm will be extended and your right hand is right under your nose. I was going to say under your right nose. I caught myself. All right, so from here, we're going to go again into that hamstring stretch, but it's also going to have a twist to it. So planting that right hand, press into it, bend into your right knee, and then keep your left knee straight, and then turn your torso towards the left as you reach your left arm towards the ceiling. And then pausing here. Push into that right hand, so as if you were trying to push the floor, the block away. Take a full breath in. Take a full breath out. Another inhale. And then on your exhale, left hand will come to the block, Bend into your left knee and now turn towards your right. Right arm goes towards the ceiling and you're getting that stretch now through that right hamstring, that twist towards the right side. And again, push into that block. So don't collapse into it, push away from it. Take a full breath in, right hamstring stretch. Full breath out. We'll do it one more time each side. Right hand comes to the block. Bend into your right knee, straighten the left, turn towards your left. Maybe even your gaze goes up towards the ceiling. And then with your next exhale, left hand to the block and switching sides. Left knee bends, right arm towards the ceiling. Maybe even the gaze lifts. A twist, a hamstring stretch, a fold. And then return that right hand. And then just find a bend knee, forward fold, holding onto opposite elbows if that feels good. And let yourself sway a little bit from side to side. Breathe in. And breathe out. And then release those elbows. Find a halfway lift on your inhale. And with your next exhale, plant your hands and step the left foot back to come into a low lunge. So we're going to go into some half splits here. So first of all, push through that left heel. Keep your lunge for a moment. So get some space in the front of that left hip. Squeeze through that left glute. Think about reaching your torso or your spine forward. Take another breath in. And then on your exhale, we're going to lower that left knee down. You can stay with your left toes tucked or untucked, whatever feels more comfortable. If you're using the blocks, so your blocks would be under your hands, and that will give you a bit more clearance with the floor, and it will be a bit more comfortable for that right leg to be in front of you. From here, we're going to go back and forth. So with your next inhale, think about lifting through your chest. And then as you exhale, straighten through the front leg, send your hips back. 2 more, just like that. Come forward on the breath in. Hips forward and down, chest lifts. And move back on the breath out. 1 more time, come forward, inhale. And exhale and go back. If you're using your blocks, bring your blocks back towards you. We're going to bring those hands under those shoulders. So you're coming into half splits, and alignment in half splits is kind of a bit boxy. Left knee under left hip, hands under shoulders, and then you're trying to find as much of a neutral spine as you can. So that might mean coming higher on your hands or on your blocks, and if that's what you need to do, do it. And then we're going to keep those toes, those right toes pointing away from us for a moment here. Draw your right hip slightly back. And then we're going to do what they call nerve glides. So with that right leg extended out in front of us, we're going to flex and point that right foot. So when you're ready, draw those right toes towards you and then point them away from you. And then do that a few more times. Trying not to change the rest of your posture here. And do it 1 more time. And then the next time that your right foot is flexed, stay with that right foot flexed and give an extra push through that right heel. Breathe in and breathe out. See if you can send your right sit bone slightly back and up. And maybe you're able to bend into your elbows and lower the chest a little bit more towards your right thigh. Trying not to round the spine. So rather than chest towards the thigh, say belly towards the thigh, right? Because sometimes we do chest and that's what we'll do, we'll round and we'll lose that connection of belly to thigh. So think belly to thigh rather than chest to knee. Breath in and breath out. 1 more inhale. and exhale. And then as you breathe in, bend into that right knee, come forward, walk your blocks and your hands to frame or in line with that right foot. Tuck your back toes, lift that back knee. And then before you do anything else, just go forward and back with your hips and on the ball of that back foot. As if you were in, what is it, like the tracks or the, in a race and you're trying to, at the parting point of my language is bad here. One more breath. And then from here, let's make our way into downward facing dog. So see if you can step your right foot all the way back. And then send your sit bones up and back and downward facing dog. A few breaths right here. And as always, anytime we come into down dog and we hold it for a few breaths, you're always welcome to do a table pose or a child's pose if you need a little bit more rest. Let's take 2 more cycles of breath. And then we'll use the next inhale to make our way forward, once again meeting at the top of the mat in a forward fold. Holding on to opposite elbows, a nice bend in those knees, maybe a little sway forward and back, or from side to side. And then bringing your hands to your hips, chin to chest, slowly stack one vertebra over the other as you come all the way up to stand. Find your mountain pose, arms by your side, palms facing forward. Give your fingers a little wiggle, maybe a little rotation through the wrists if they need some attention. You might even close your eyes. And then if your eyes are closed, open, reach your arms wide, up overhead. As you exhale, left arm down, side stretch. Coming back through center, breathing in, and taking it over to the other side as you breathe out. Back through center, inhale, forward fold as you exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. And then planting your hands once again, maybe on blocks. Your right foot now is going to step all the way to the back of the mat. Low lunge, the left knee bends. And really make your stance long. That will let your left knee bend a little bit more as you slide your right foot back. But you're still on the ball of that right foot. And now give your glutes a little squeeze here. Think about your kneecap coming up towards your hips, so your thigh engages. Take another full breath in. And then on the exhale, let's lower that right knee to the mat. Untuck your toes if that's comfortable. And then from here, we'll find some movement forward and back. So from your lunge, take a breath in. Think about lifting the gaze. And then as you exhale, send those hips back, straightening through that front leg. And let's do it again. Come forward, inhale. See if you can feel a stretch through the right hip flexor. Exhale, send it back, getting into that left hamstring. Again, come forward, breathing in. And move back as you breathe out. Let's do it one more time. Forward. And then this time we're going to stay in that half split position. Your hands are going to come closer to you. Again, those blocks, really helpful here. And stay with your toes pointing away from you for a moment as you find your half splits alignment. Right knee more or less on the right hip. Your hands under your shoulders. And then try to neutralize that spine. So if your hands are kind of low or the floor is too far away, your spine will round. And that's where coming onto your fingertips, coming onto the blocks will really allow that chest to come forward. and the belly to get closer to your thigh. Once you've got your half split position here, we're going to flex and point that left foot. So when you're ready, draw the toes towards your shin, trying not to change too much the rest of your pose, and then point toes away from you. And a few more at your own pace. Explore the sensations here. And as you do this, keep your face relaxed and keep your breath going. And then the next time that your left foot is flexed, pause there, toes are drawing towards the shin. See if you can send your chest forward. See if you can get your belly a bit closer to your left thigh. Breath in and breath out. Don't overdo it with that left knee, so a micro bend in it. Always better than, so if you're feeling like a lot of tension, a lot of stretch in the back of your left knee, find a little bend into it. Okay, you can stretch the top of the hamstring and you'll still get a stretch through the lower part of the hamstring, where you're protecting the knee and the back of the knee. Another breath in and another breath out. One more. And then use your next inhale to come forward. So you're planting that left foot, bending into that left knee. Hands are going to come up by that left foot. Tuck the back toes, lift that knee, and then before doing anything else, just kind of shift forward and back with those legs, with those hips. You might be giving your back toes a bit of a massage too. Give your right glute a squeeze. And then from here, hands plant and step your left foot back and all the way into downward facing dog. We'll meet there. And some loose movement, so allow your hips to really sway from side to side as you bend and straighten one knee at a time. And if it feels good for the neck, let your gaze go from side to side too, like your face turn towards the left and towards the right. You might even get into the side body a bit, so you might as you turn towards the left, you might drop your right shoulder slightly down. And then as you turn towards the right, left knee bend, the left shoulder might drop slightly also towards the mat. So kind of quite a movement through the whole of the body here in your down dog. And then eventually find some stillness. Take a full inhale. And on your exhale, lower your knees all the way down. Slide them wide, big toes touch. We're coming into child's pose. Sit bones towards your heels. And then with your arms in front of you, option here of getting a bit of a stretch through the triceps. So you can bring the palms to touch. Thumbs are going to be pointing up. And then bend your elbows and bring the thumbs to the back of your head. Your elbows are down on the mat. And see if you can feel the stretch through the back of your upper arms, your armpits. And find a few more breaths. And then if you've got your arms, your elbows bent, release. And then slowly walk your hands towards you and begin to lift your spine. And come up to stand on your knees. Send your feet towards one side. Plant your opposite hand. And then bend through your hips as you lower your sit bones to the mat. And you bring your legs in front of you. Coming into a seat. And then we'll do a little, I mentioned a bit of core work. So we'll do a bit of boat pose. Okay, so a few options, and I want you to test and see, which one will work for you, and you don't do too much. So first option is to bring the hands behind us, and you're welcome to do fists, so keeping your wrists a bit more neutral. And then your knees, you want to find kind of a bit like a V shape with your legs and your torso. So you've got to lean back some until you feel some of your core here engage. Okay, your feet are still planted. Work here, elbows towards one another, just like we've been doing, an open chest. Okay, so think about a string pulling the center of your chest up towards the ceiling all throughout as we do this. And then some of you will stay here, work this, work with the lean back and see where some work begins to occur. Some of you will come onto those tiptoes. Some of you will stay here on tiptoes. Some of you will lift the right shin. So the right knee stays bent in the same position, but the only thing that lifts here or that moves is that shin. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will lift the other shin. Notice if the torso changed, try not to change it. Okay, so you still got that opening through your chest. You still got that V shape happening with your thighs and your torso. Relax the face. Take a full breath in. Take a full breath out. So there's this point of balance on the bum that you've got to find. So sometimes it's a bit tricky to find that point, that place that is comfortable. One more breath wherever you are. And then wherever you are, with your next exhale, lower and come into a seat, soles of the feet together, and the knees coming wide. You can keep your hands where they are, or you can transfer your hands around your ankles, and then use that grip on your ankles to pull your chest forward. Draw those elbows down and back. Breath in, and breath out. And another, think about crown of the head reaching tall, knees going down. We're going to do another one of those boat poses. So with your next inhale, bring those knees up. Again, transfer your hands behind you. If you want to try another version, you can bring your hands behind your knees, so the back of your thighs. And then once again, find that V shape with your thighs and your torso, shoulders back, open chest, and start both feet planted. And this might be plenty. This might be work already, and you work here. Maybe you're coming onto your tiptoes. Maybe you're lifting your left shin. Maybe you're lifting your right shin. Or maybe you do one shin at a time and just switch. You can use the grip of your hands on your thighs to keep pulling your chest forward. Keep your elbows down. Breath in, keep pulling your chest up. Breath out, nice job. Another inhale. Another exhale. If you've got your hands behind your knees, try for a moment releasing. Don't change anything else. And then with your next exhale, lower those feet if you had them lifted, knees wide. Once again, soles of the feet together. First of all, give yourself a lengthening up, breathing in. And then on your exhale, find some rounding. So let your chest go forward and down and drop your head. Relax through the neck. The boat poses, we're working the core, but chances are the neck got all tense. So you can use this moment here to release some of that tension. Maybe an open mouth exhale. And then slowly rising back up with that spine, lifting those knees, and this time coming all the way down onto our back body. So you can use again that core work that we just did to lower down. So if you wish, you could reach your arms in front of you. Keep your feet well planted this time. Take a full breath in. And then exhale, come halfway down. Keep that torso open. And then with your next exhale, begin to round. So round through lower back, through mid back, lower upper back, and lastly, lower head. And then once you're there, bring those knees in towards you. And then rock a bit from side to side. A little movement through your ankles, wiggle through your toes. Any movement that feels good with your hips. Maybe some circling, some rotation. Maybe drawing one knee in as you send the other one out and then switching, kind of like bicycle legs. And then allow your feet to drop to the mat. Bring them wide. The knees are going to stay bent. So you could have your feet on the edges of your mat. And then let your knees rest towards one another. Open your arms out into a T. Take a full inhale. And then as you exhale, drop your knees all the way towards the left side. And if you need a little support or bring the floor a bit higher, just plant a block under your left thigh or your left knee. And then see if you can let your right knee drop towards the floor, and then notice some space appearing in the front of that right hip. And we'll take it all the way up the right side of the body, so you can walk your right arm overhead, still on the floor. Take it any amount. It could come out diagonally, or it could come all the way by your ear. And then think about lengthening that space between your right fingers all the way down the right side of the body, all the way to that right knee. As if you are trying to get those 2 points as far away from one another as you can. And then for the next 3 cycles of breath, stop reaching, be where you're at. And just feel the inhales expanding further that right side, and the exhales settling yourself in, allowing yourself to soften, to relax. And now we'll use the next inhale to bring that right arm back. Lift those knees back through center. Let them touch once again. And then when you're ready, take it all to the other side. So those knees are going to go over towards the right. And remember, your feet are wide, so it will give that left knee some space to drop towards the floor. And a block under that right thigh might be helpful. Bit more supportive. And then again, you've noticed some space in the front of that left hip, some stretch. There's also a twist going on, so you're feeling that left side. And then we'll expand a bit more through that left side body, so your left hand can come up towards your ear. See what's available, what feels comfortable. And then keep reaching your left fingers away from your left knee, so all that space in between stretches out. And then for the next 3 cycles of breath, stop the reaching and really be where you're at. Your breath in will still stretch that left side, and your breath out will allow yourself to be here, to settle in. And then use your next inhale to bring yourself back. And then bring your hands to rest on your belly. Let your knees again rest against one another. And just give a little tilt to the pelvis, tailbone drawing between the legs, lower back coming closer to the ground. Take a breath in, allow the belly to expand into hands. And breathe out, drawing the belly away from your hands. Take 2 more. And then find Shavasana. Find the most comfortable place and then invite stillness. Make that transition from doing to a bit of time of not doing. All the voluntary actions now take a pause. And for these last moments of practice, you are letting yourself be. And notice where your attention is at. Notice any thinking. And then notice your breath. And take a deeper inhale, a longer exhale. And then begin to move through your fingers and your toes, maybe your ankles and your wrists. Maybe the chin drops towards the left shoulder and then towards the right. And if you're on your back, you might hug those knees into your chest. And then come on to one side of the body. Finding a breath in. And finding a breath out. And then we'll make our way up to find a seat. And resting hands at heart or anywhere that feels comfortable, shoulders away from ears, and crown of the head growing tall. Ending practice together, first by acknowledging the practice itself, then acknowledging ourselves for practicing today. Acknowledging those who practice with us. Acknowledging those who make it possible. And ending with a word that means that the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.